amino acids and protein. So hopefully I'll be able to finish. If you have seen my PowerPoint, that is the entire protein, and that is a total of 77 slides. Okay? That is a total of 77 slides. So for this morning, we will be discussing about amino acids, proteins, and the different plasma protein. Right after amino acid and protein, we will be discussing liver function. Okay, we will be discussing liver function, which is originally um, in clinical chemistry 2 nung tatlo pa ang clinical chem. But since the clinical chemistry now was cut short to only 2, okay, it was cut short to only clinical chem 1 and clinical chem 2. Two of the topics from clinical chem 2, which are liver function and kidney function, was carried out and transferred to clinical chemistry 1. So I'll just be discussing actually, and I'm hoping that some of these terms are still familiar to you from your biochemistry. If not, I hope that you would listen intently and do extra reading in case that you don't understand or there are some topics that are still not clear to you. So, let's start with amino acid. So, for this morning, nakailang for this morning na po ako. So, for today, we will be talking about the basic structure of your amino acid, the importance of its metabolism, some of the essential and non-essential, and the new amino acids that has been discovered. We will also be going through amino acidopathies, although the amino acidopathies, I guess, was already been discussed to you in your AUBF. Okay? So, yung mga metabolic error, yung newborn metabolic, yung mga disorders like MSUD, alkaptonuria, thyrosiluria, and others. Okay? And then we'll just have a quick one slide about amino acid analysis. So, I hope all of you would now take out your PowerPoints and hopefully um some of you now with some of you will have printed the PowerPoint para makasunod kayo. So let's start. So first and foremost, in clinical chemistry, if you have realized by now, no, in clinical chemistry there are three biomolecules that are mainly being discussed. Same thing in biochemistry. Kung tutuusin nga, okay, kung tutuusin, clinical chemistry is a re-echoed biochemistry. Okay? It's a re-echoed biochemistry because you did talk about carbohydrates na. You did talk about lipids and lipids na before and fats. You did talk about amino acid and proteins. You will also did talk about na hopefully before yung mga non-protein nitrogenous compound like creatinine, um, yung uric acid, among others, and even enzymology, which will be your first topic in clinical chemistry to next semester. So, all of those things are already been discussed. But maybe some of you are wondering, sir, why is it that we're repeating it then in clinical chemistry 1? Because now we're actually interjecting the clinical aspect in the biochemistry. Okay? So, let's start off with amino acid. So amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So meaning to say, um, all your polypeptide, all your proteins are first made up of amino acid. Later on, I'll be having a short discussion about the central dogma. Okay? So these amino acids, if you could remember, there are a lot of amino acids. Okay, there are a lot of amino acids. If you're looking at your clinical chemistry book right now, there are a lot of amino acids, both essential, non-essential, and the new one. So these amino acids are different from one another because of their chemical group. Okay, because of the chemical group attached to them, and those chemical group attached to them, or the R group, as we call them in chemistry, give out unique chemical properties in each of the amino acids. So each of the amino acid are unique because of their chemical properties. And because of those chemical properties, each of these amino acids now would have a different biologic activity when now combined as a polypeptide or as a protein. So some amino acids function for growth and repair and even in the maintenance of your cell. And then there are some amino acids that are used for used for the production of your acetyl coenzyme A. There are some amino acids that are used to be converted as glucose in your gluconeogenesis. So there are a lot of amino acids and they have specific function alongside with them. So these chemical properties again of your amino acid would determine the biologic activity of your protein. So take for example your insulin. Okay? Your insulin has your if you've studied your pro-insulin, okay? So in my biochem, that was my report. So nung ako ay second year, so in second year, my report was your insulin, and your insulin can function as it is because of the cysteine. Okay, the cysteine that has a sulfur or the disulfide bond. Okay, that enables your insulin now to produce or to perform its function. So kung makikita ninyo doon, 'di ba? Because of the different amino acid located or included um in your protein, nagiging unique yung performance or yung function ng ating mga proteins. So, as for the basic structure of your amino acid, your amino acid contains at least one of both, one amino group and one carboxylic functional group. So, here is your amino group and located in your alpha carbon is your carboxylic group, okay? In your carboxylic group, okay, this is where other amino acid would attach, forming now your peptide bond. Okay? So, yung isang amino acid mo dito dudugtong sa carboxylic group. So, yung amino group na yan at saka yung carboxylic group na ito, okay, will combine forming now your peptide bond. So, please do remember that this R group here, okay, this R group here, this is the unique group for each of your amino acid na pinag-uusapan natin kanina. Okay? So moving forward, now this is just a single amino acid. Okay? This is just a single amino acid. But a chain of amino acid collectively is called your polypeptide. And your polypeptide is and a large polypeptide now constitutes a protein. So technically in the human serum, proteins are around 100 to 150 amino acids. Okay? So each of your polypeptide chain inside in your serum, in your plasma, okay, are around 100 to 150 amino acid. So here, hindi lang siya mga hindi lang siya, it's not just not similar to carbohydrates na disaccharide, monosaccharide, or polysaccharide. Most actually of your proteins inside your body are in the form of polypeptide. Rather, most of your amino acids are in the form of your polypeptide. Okay? So, just reiterating to you guys that amino acids, again, differ from one another by their chemical composition on their R group or their side chains. Okay? So, there are around 20 different amino acids used as a building protein, which I will be showing in a short while. So some of these are the essential and non-essential. So as you can see, these are your amino acids. You have your glycine all throughout until your proline. So let's just proceed on. I will not be discussing the structure naman na anymore. But here are the essential amino acid from the diet, and then the amino acid that your body can produce. Okay, so disclaimer. Okay, when I say the body can produce, okay, the body can produce, not all of this are immediately produced in your body. Like your tyrosine, take for example, your tyrosine would come up from the catabolism of your phenylalanine. So some of this amino acid that cannot be that can be produced inside your body are just result of your amino acid catabolism. So we have here the essential amino acid from your diet and the amino acid from your that your body can produce. Okay, that your body can produce. So obviously, the one on your left are those that are from the diet, meaning to say you cannot produce that. Your body cannot produce that. That is the reason why. Okay, that is the reason why even if I don't know, hindi ko I'm not so clear about the clear difference between a vegan and a vegetarian. Pero that the reason why most vegetarians still need a protein substitute, 'di ba? Most of the protein kasi natin are your meat, your egg, 'di ba? Yung fish, yung lahat ng meat natin, those are your protein sources. That's why they need to look for na other protein or plant-based or vegetable-based na protein sources because they cannot simply just eradicate protein on their diet. Okay? If you eradicate protein on your diet or eradicate amino acid from your diet, what would happen to your body? Okay? What would happen to your body? Automatically, your body would not have enough, ayan, your body would not have enough amino acid to produce your protein. Okay? And yung DNA replication mo would now be disrupted, okay? Ito yung makakasira ng DNA mo at hindi yung vaccine ng COVID-19, okay? Hindi yung COVID-19. So, please do remember that amino acids are very important. So, the big question siguro on your mind right now, sir, are you gonna let us memorize these 20 amino acids? No, okay? I will not. Okay? Because I am not letting you memorize that because there is another thing that I would let you memorize and not this one. Okay? Not this one. So these are the essential amino acids again coming from their diet and the amino acids that are coming that your body can produce. Okay? So, eto na lang yung tatandaan yung dalawa because this is new. Okay? This is new. Your two new amino acid. Okay? There are two amino acids that are included and that are considered to be new. Okay? That are considered to be new. So, we have your selenocysteine and your pyrrolysine, okay? Your selenocysteine and your pyrrolysine. Sir, why do you consider it or why do we call it now recently identified amino acid? So, because originally, if you have read your book already, both your selenocysteine and your pyrrolysine are amino acid that were coded from a stop codon. So, remember naman your stop codon, di ba? From biochem, from cytogen, kasi babatiin kayo ni stop codon pagdating nyo ng mol bionexem. So, do you clear ba ako when I say stop codon? Your stop codon are your stop codon are three nucleotide, di ba? Are your codon that would signal the cessation or the stoppage of your protein translation. That's the ideal na dapat pagkarating ng transfer RNA mo sa stop codon, stop na lahat ng translation. Ang nangyari, may na-code na protein for UGA from your UGA and that is now your pyrrolysine. That is now your selenocysteine rather. Okay? That is now your selenocysteine. So, these amino acids are new. So, please take note of this too. And familiarize yourself na lang din with these two. Most importantly, among all the amino acids that I've shown you. Okay? So, before that, let's now go to your amino acidopathies. The amino acidopathies question, are all of this discussed na already in your AUBF? Can I just see a Okay, so nauna na si Milde bago ko pa tanungin na ipapachat ko dapat nag-thumbs up na siya. So, I guess it was all discussed naman na to you guys. So, before kasi, I had to discuss this in Clinical Chemistry 1 because AUBF is in the second semester. Okay? Second sem kasi ang AUBF. So, ayan. So, some of this are your PKU, your tyrosinemia, alkaptonuria, MSUD, isovaleric acidemia, homocystinuria, citrullinemia, your arginososinic aciduria, and your cystinuria. Some of this we will be discussing na lang. I have seen some of you mention that there are some that was not discussed. So, I will be including this when we discuss our abnormalities and diseases comes your liver function. Okay? So moving forward now, okay, a quick ano lang, amino acid analysis. Amino acid analysis. So analysis of amino acid lang tong pag-uusapan natin ha, not the protein in general pa lang. So when collecting blood samples for your amino acid analysis, blood should be drawn at least 6 to 8 hours from a 6 to 8 hours fasting. So the patient should have fasted for 6 to 8 hours before amino acid will be collected. And maybe some of you will be wondering, sir, why do we need fasting pa po in measuring your amino acid? So please do remember that for you to be able to have a better perspective of how much of the proteins or amino acid there is in your body, you have to fast because again, there are some amino acid that are coming from your diet. Ganun lang lagi yon, everyone. Okay? Ganun lang lagi yon. If there are if some of the analytes that you will be measuring are present in your diet, you need to fast. Like take for example, your triglyceride. Why do I need to fast for triglyceride? Because there are such thing called your exogenous triglyceride coming from your dietary intake. So when I eat, there will be lipids, and when I immediately kapag kinunan ako ng dugo, makukuha din yung exogenous triglyceride ko. Same thing, same principle when it comes to your amino acids. Okay? Same principle with your amino acids. So moving forward, okay? Moving forward, that in itself now is your amino acid. Okay? That is already your amino acid. I will just try to partition all my lectures. So I am actually going to finish until proteins, which is my entire goal naman for today, which is to finish until proteins. So I don't know if I cannot pause a recording, no? I cannot pause a recording. So I'll just stop it if ever. So my questions ba? Do you have any questions, clarification from both Google Meet? Mag-raise na lang kayo ng hands so that it will like make tunog so I can go to that. Are there any questions here from O2? None? Okay. Tatawagin ko na main plenary. Okay. From the main room, meron question? Okay, so hindi na naman po ako pinapansin ng tatlong section na po yung nandito, hindi po sila sumasagot. Are there any questions? Okay, none daw sabi ni Chua. Okay, si Chua pa na taga O2 din. Okay, so moving forward, let's go now to the nagigets ko rin naman if walang question kasi that is just an entire review for you guys. So let's go to proteins now. So protein, sabi nga natin kanina, proteins is already a polymer of your amino acid. Okay? So there are other way I can phrase your proteins ha. So proteins are polymer of your amino acids. So sabi nga natin, okay, your proteins are for me ha, if I would actually choose, if there are top molecules inside my body, that would be those three: carbohydrates, lipids, and protein. Okay, carbohydrates, lipid, and protein. So those are really just a must na lagi dapat nating alam. Even when you go to med school, you will still be discussing about these things. Okay? So, going to protein now. Okay, protein comes from the Greek word protease, which means first rank of importance. And now, later on my next slide, you will now realize why proteins are called by the Greek the most one of the most first rank of importance, or why is it very important. So, please do take note that proteins can be composed of one or more unbranched chain of amino acid, which will be discussed further when we go to their structure. So you have a primary, secondary, tertiary, and your quaternary protein. So all those four proteins are important and are different from one another. Okay? So most of your plasma protein, I want you to listen to this, underline this, okay? Almost all of your plasma proteins are synthesized in your liver, specifically in your hepatocytes. So, of your, all of your proteins, lahat ng proteins na naiisip mo ngayon are secreted from your hepatocyte. So, they are all produced in your liver except for one. Okay? What is that one? What is that except? Except for your immunoglobulins. Okay? Which will be discussed further next semester in your immunology and serology. Okay? So, your immunology and your serology. So again, your proteins, all of your proteins are secreted and produced and synthesized in your liver except for your immunoglobulin. Okay? Except for your immunoglobulins that are secreted from your plasma cell. And your plasma cell are what type of cell originally? What is the your plasma cell are what type of cells? B cell, okay? B cell is a type of what, WBC? B cell is a lymphocyte, okay? Your B cell is a CD4 or CD8? Your B cell is a CD4 or CD8? Hala, walang sumasagot. The answer is none. Because your CD4 and CD8 are T cells and not B cells. Okay, so gising-gising na tayo. Okay, so your B cells are not CD4, they are not CD8, they are for your T cells. Okay, those are for your T cells. So moving forward, okay, let us talk about how proteins are synthesized. Okay, how protein are synthesized. Did you know why the Greek called it first rank of importance? It's because proteins are the very first molecule your DNA will be creating. Okay? It is the first biomolecule that they will be creating. Sir, hindi po carbs. Sir, hindi po carbohydrates. Sir, hindi po fats and lipids. No, but rather your protein. So in the central dogma, this is now how your DNA becomes your RNA and eventually becomes your protein, which is now your cells, your proteins, which are now your organs, your proteins, which are now your plasma, your proteins, which are now your hormones, your proteins, which are now your enzymes. So, in short, a lot of the things in your body right now are protein. Okay? A lot of the things in your body right now are actually protein. Okay? So, yung mga nagpo-protein, yung mga nagwe-whey protein nga dyan, di ba? So, you would realize how important protein is um, in your muscle development. So, protein are synthesized. So, backtrack tayo. Throwback tayo. Before protein becomes protein, it is actually just your double-stranded DNA. So, there are three distinct parts of your central dogma. What are those three? Can I see it from the chat box? What are those three? Okay, let me just call somebody from O4. So O4, welcome to the class. Okay. Welcome to the class. So let's go with one of the O4 who's here right now. Parang hindi ko Let's go with ano. Parang complete ba ang O4 right now dito? Okay, O4, let's go to Okay, let's go to Raro. Miss Raro, can you please unmute your mic? Are you there? Okay, so baka nagta-travel pa po yung message ko kay Miss Raro. Is she here? O4 represent. Oh, anyone from O4 who's awake na O4 who can answer me? What are the three? Sino yon? Si Matt Nelson. I'll go, Matt.
Sir, ano yung ano po? Yung sa Central Dogma pa, di ba?
Yeah.
Ano po? Replication, transcription po, and translation.
Replication, transcription, and translation. Can you elaborate the three for us?
Sige, sir. Try lang.
What is replication?
Elaborate po.
Yeah, go.
Replication, yung from the name itself po, yung pag-replicate po ng ano, yung DNA po. Then yung transcription po is yung pag-convert po ng ano, ng DNA to RNA. Tapos pwede rin po siyang undergo ng reverse transcription dahil the reverse transcriptase po. Tapos yung translation po, yun po yung action ng mga different kinds ng RNA po to produce a protein po.
Okay. So what do you call that process na nagpo-produce ng protein?
Yung translation.
Translation. What are those three? You said that there are different types of RNA. What are those different types of RNA?
Si mRNA, si tRNA, and sino ba isa? RNA.
rRNA. Correct. Okay. rRNA. Question. Matt did mention about reverse transcription. Question. Does it happen in the human body? Does reverse transcription happen in your body? Let's us go to Davis. Davis, thank you, Matt. Okay. Very good. So let's go to Davis. Davis, can reverse transcription happen in the human body?
Ano, sir? No po.
No, why?
Bakit nga ba? Wait lang, sir. Iniisip ko eh. Sir, di ba po sa HIV, sa virus lang po yan? Parang ganun. So, hindi siya sa total sa body.
How did you think na sa virus lang?
Sabi sa bakte, sir eh.
Sabi sa bakte. Okay. So, okay. Tama naman siya. Hindi nangyayari. But let us go to Gusto ko marinig yung mga offer. Let us go to Let us go to Sabayo. Okay? Let us go to Sabayo. Why is it that humans cannot do reverse transcription? Ren. Okay. So, call a friend. Sinong maswerte mong kaibigan ang sasagot ng katanungan? Type it in. Ren, who's gonna answer? Hannah Ray. Hannah, are you here? Why is it that your humans cannot perform reverse transcription?
Sir, guess lang po.
Go.
Kasi po wala pong enzyme yung humans po ng reverse transcriptase. So, impossible po na magkaroon ng reverse transcription in our body.
Correct. Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Hannah. That's the answer. So even if sabihin na natin na proteins are enzymes are proteins, your body doesn't have the genetic code to produce the enzyme that will now do your reverse transcription. So your reverse transcriptase, ayan, just like your SARS-CoV right now, your SARS-CoV can do that. Your HIV can do that. So a lot of your RNA viruses can actually do reverse transcription. Okay? They can do reverse transcription. So again, picking it up from what Matt said, the central dogma is composed of three important processes, which are your replication, your transcription, and your translation. In your translation, there are three RNA involved. Your messenger RNA, which is the template now for protein translation. You have next is your transfer RNA and your ribosomal RNA, your rRNA. So all of those three are very important when it comes to translation. Okay? So much about that. I will not be talking about the central dogma as dissected as it is na pag-uusapan pa natin yung Okazaki fragments, the lagging and the forward strand, not anymore, because that will be part of the mol bio that you will be having next semester. So having said that now that you know the very important processes in the production of your protein can actually appear in different forms. We have your primary, your secondary, tertiary, and your quaternary protein structure. So when I say protein structure, okay, these are different pa from the simple and the conjugated, okay? When we are talking about structure, we're talking about its chemical structure, okay? So we have four. We have your primary, secondary, tertiary, and your quaternary. Your primary proteins are just a linear sequence of your amino acid. So as you can see here, okay, this is just a linear form of amino acid. And pag sinabi nating linear, meaning to say there are no disulfide bonds here. There are no electrostatic interactions that would make it non-linear as to like your secondary until your quaternary protein structure. So your primary are linear sequence of amino acids. So that's what I want you to remember. Now comes your secondary protein structure. Your secondary protein structure can appear in your alpha or your beta helix. Your alpha helix or a beta pleated protein. So as you can see here, you have your alpha helix and you have your beta pleated sheet. Okay? You have your beta pleated sheet. So these are repeating structure with hydrogen bonds. So the hydrogen bonds now increases the strength and the flexibility of your protein. Okay? But there are more stronger protein structure which are now in the form of your tertiary and your quaternary protein. Your tertiary, okay, sir, what is the difference among all of this? Okay, among all of this. Did you know that the differences in their structure are brought about by the different amino acid that are found in each of these in each of these proteins, okay? In each of these proteins. So, your tertiary, take for example, you have here now hydrophobic effect, ionic attraction, hydrogen bonds, and disulfide bonds. And as you can see, in the tertiary, tinawag natin siyang interactions and attraction. Because these are actually interactions among different amino acid. So take for example, your disulfide can be found in two amino acid containing your sulfur. Okay? So that is either your cysteine, okay? Or your methionine. In other cases, you can also see other bonds like your hydrogen bond, your hydrophobic bond, and at the same time, your ionic bond. So that is what makes the tertiary structure of your protein more complex and more sturdy compared to your compared to your primary and secondary. Now let's go to your quaternary amino acid. Sir, what is the difference between quaternary amino acid? Quaternary proteins, rather, your quaternary protein are actually structures that result from interaction of more than one protein molecule. An example of this is your hemoglobin. Naaalala sa hemoglobin? Your hemoglobin has four globin chains. Correct? Remember, meron siyang 4 na globin chain, 2 alpha, 2 beta, which will become now your hemoglobin A. Okay? So those 4, okay, the interaction among those 4 proteins, okay, those are actually example of tertiary protein. Yung globins natin doon are example of tertiary proteins. Together, when they interact, okay, when those 4 interact, that will now become your quaternary structure. Okay? So as you can see here, you have your alpha chain. This is your beta chain. This is your beta chain. This example here on your lower right is actually a hemoglobin. Okay? It has an alpha chain and a beta chain, which is now what type of hemoglobin? Your hemoglobin A. Okay? Your hemoglobin A. So, please do remember that this protein are protein na by itself. So, these are tertiary protein already. To be exact, these are actually beta pleat. These are alpha helix. This one in this particular example. So, these are secondary. So, these are secondary proteins joined together, now becoming a quaternary structure of your protein. Am I clear? Can I see a thumbs up if I am clear? So, dun sa 4, we have primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. Okay? So, moving forward now, okay, wala namang naka-on sa Google Meet ng O2. So, moving forward, let's talk about the different properties of your protein. So, your proteins can be classified according to their chemical properties, according to their function, and according to their composition. Okay? So, that is now being simple or conjugated. Okay? So, let's go now to the charge and the isoelectric point. Okay? To the isoelectric point. So, your proteins can actually give out a positive or a negative charge. That's why we call your proteins amphoteric. Okay? Amphoteric. So, what do we mean by amphoteric? It can be positively charged or negatively charged. Isa lang. That is what you mean by amphoteric. A molecule that can either be positive or negatively charged. Sir, what do we call the molecule kapag both positive and negative charge siya at the same time? Okay? At the same time. Paano pag merong isang molecule? Okay, we call it your zwitterion. Correct. We call it your zwitterion. Okay? So, zwitterion they both have positive and negative charge at the very same time. Okay? But as we are speaking today, your proteins are amphoteric. Okay? The pH or the charge of your protein depends highly on your PI. Okay? Hindi po ako nagmumura. Okay? Or your isoelectric point. Okay? The isoelectric point is a point where your protein are not negative or not negative. Simply chargeless. Okay? So if protein now can be placed in pH, okay, in an environment where pH is greater than the isoelectric point, the protein will become positively charged. Okay? Kapag pH naman is less than the PI, your protein now will become positively charged. Okay? Will become positively charged. If pH is less than your PI, it will now become negative. It will now become positively charged. Okay? It will now become positively charged. So, this is actually explained by your Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. Your Henderson-Hasselbalch equation gives us now the relationship between your weak acid and your conjugate base. Okay? So, if pH is greater than your PI, proteins are negatively charged. If pH is less than your PI, your proteins are now positively charged. So, usually, okay, the pH where your proteins are still soluble is around 5.5 to 8.0. Okay? 5.5 to 8.0. That is the pH range for your protein. So again, what is your PI? Your PI is isoelectric point, a point where the number of positively charged is equal to the number of negatively charged group in a protein. Okay? So meaning to say, it actually cancels out the charge. Okay? It cancels out the charge. So but in the case na, okay, in the case na ang mangyari is that there are more positively charged and negatively charged. That is now in the case of changes in their pH. Okay? Changes in the pH in relation to your isoelectric point will now make it different. Okay? Will now make it different. So moving forward now, I only have 5 minutes. Okay? I only have 5 minutes. So don't worry. Later may question lang ako sa inyo. So let's talk about the solubility. So charge in the surface of your protein obviously would affect their solubility. Okay, would affect their solubility. The solubility of your proteins is around pH 3.35 to 7.35 to 7.45. So the surface with charge will now become hydrophilic protein, which are the soluble type of protein. Question: why is it that it is 7.35 to 7.45? Why is it that the optimal pH where your proteins are soluble is 7.35 to 7.45? So the answer is here na sa chat box. Okay, let me check sa other. Normal pH of the blood, correct. Because this is the normal pH of the blood, correct. Tama naman kayo doon. That is the normal pH of your blood. So, marapat lang na sa ganung pagkakataon, soluble yung ating protein. So, that's correct. Okay? So, last 3 minutes, okay? So, now going to your proteins, okay? Going now to our proteins, your proteins are very much prone to denaturation, okay? Denaturation is the loss of protein structure, and the loss in protein structure will lead to the loss of their function and their chemical characteristic, okay? Their chemical characteristic. And there are some reasons or some cases whereby your protein will be denatured. That is through exposure to heat, hydrolysis because of strong acid or base. It can also be due to enzymatic, okay? So, example ng enzymatic natin is your pepsin and your trypsin, urea exposure or other chemicals, and UV light exposure. So, that is the reason why, di ba, puntahan ko yung UV, no? UV light, the reason why radiation, okay? Yung mga harmful na radiation, ha? That's why harmful radiation or your non-ionizing radiation is harmful to us because it can actually cause denaturation of your proteins, okay? Denaturation of your proteins and eventually causing even mutation in your DNA, okay? So exposure to that will denature the protein inside your body, okay? So please do remember, because when we talk about the different types of procedures, we're gonna do denaturation to precipitate the protein, okay? To precipitate the protein. So to end this discussion, let me end my discussion by discussing to you the nitrogen balance, okay? Discussing to you the nitrogen balance. So unlike your fats that are stored as adipose, unlike your carbohydrates that are stored as what? What is the storage form of your carbohydrates? Storage form of carbohydrates? Glycogen. What is the storage form of your iron? The soluble one. Soluble storage of iron. O4 red at O1, O2, O4 ready na. Nagre-review na tayo. Ferritin. What is the insoluble storage of iron? Hemosiderin. Okay, correct. Hemosiderin. So, all of those are storage form. So, all of those compounds have their storage form. Unlike your nitrogen. Okay? We do have amino acid pool in the liver, but we don't have a nitrogen storage. So there are no storage of nitrogen. That's why there is a need for us to have our amino acids or have our nitrogen coming from your diet. So a total of 16% of there is a total of 16% nitrogen content from the diet. So these are in the form of protein. Yung protein na ini-intake natin, 16% of those are actually nitrogen. So what is nitrogen balance all about ba? Nitrogen balance is a state where your anabolism and catabolism are equal. Sir, ano po yung anabolism? The synthesis, the production, or the building up of a particular compound. Compared to catabolism. Catabolism, nagka-cut ng molecules, the breakdown of molecules. That is your catabolism. So we have your anabolism and your catabolism. If both are in equal rate, ibig sabihin, sakto lang, parehas lang yung anabolism, same level lang or same rate lang din yung catabolism, that is now your nitrogen balance. Okay, that is your nitrogen balance. But what about now your positive and negative balance? Ito siya. So your negative nitrogen balance is a state where the destruction is greater than the build up. So catabolism is greater than anabolism. So these are due to excessive tissue destruction like wasting diseases, continual high fever, and starvation. Wasting disease, automatically this is a disease, guys. That is why yung protein natin are being shed off or being excreted out of the body. Continual high fever. Why high fever? Remember that heat can denature your protein. Hence, it can destroy your protein, increasing the rate of catabolism. What about starvation? Sir, bakit nagpagutom lang ako? Hindi nagkaroon na ng negative. Why? Why is starvation included? Mr. Okay, tignan natin. Miss Velasco, why is starvation included in the negative nitrogen balance?
Sir, sorry, pwede po ulit po ng question?
Why is starvation a cause of negative nitrogen balance?
Sir, kasi during catabolism po, the body will have to take up extra energy to break down po.
Yeah, but how is starvation related to the negative what do you call this, negative nitrogen balance?
Sir, starvation po kasi...
Oh, what happened during starvation? Yung una mong sinabi about the energy, that's one side. Another is...
Sir, yun lang yung alam ko.
Okay. So, Ms. Velasco mentioned about your body using up the amino acids as energy source. Tama 'yon kasi nga wala kang carbohydrate source or whatsoever. But another thing is that there are no longer enough amino acid because you are starving yourself, and remember, a lot of your essential amino acids are actually coming from your diet. So dahil doon, hindi ka rin magkakaroon ng anabolism. Okay? So in the nitrogen balance, the breakdown is greater than the synthesis. Unlike your positive protein, it's actually the promotion of gluconeogenesis. So in addition to that, the positive nitrogen balance, on the other hand, the production of protein is greater than the catabolism. Okay? The production of protein is greater than the breakdown of protein. This happen in your growth, in your pregnancy, and in your repair. Okay? In growth, in your pregnancy, and in your repair. Growth and repair. So, another way to say it, guys, another way to say it is that in negative nitrogen balance, not only is catabolism higher, but excretion of nitrogen is also greater. What do we mean by greater? Ibig sabihin, I am releasing much of my nitrogen. Sure, how? It in the form of the blood waste, yung mga urea, which we will be talking about pag nakarating tayo sa kidney function. So, in your nitrogen, negative nitrogen, your nitrogen was disposed. In your positive nitrogen, dahil nga increase yung anabolism, your nitrogen were retained. Okay? Less yung ating yung nitrogen excretion natin because you need the nitrogen to build up more protein. Okay? To build up more protein and amino acid. Okay? So that is negative and positive nitrogen balance. So next meeting, okay, which will be tomorrow, so we will be continuing our discussion about the different classification of protein, be it protein na as an enzyme, a hormone, a transport protein, among others, and the different type of protein according to their structure, which is simple and conjugated. So before so I'll be ending this discussion now.